I gotta unmute this stuff first. All right, now we're gonna start. 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome, everybody, to Geekvice episode 234, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph. That man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
As he's scrounging through his notes to find whatever magical item he is trying to find.
I'm just digging through, making sure I've got it all there.
Right? Just try to cover all the bases. Yeah, so we're back for another episode of Geekvice. We've got a couple of good topics today on two different ends of the spectrum, but that's okay because, it's what we've been doing, and we want you guys to enjoy what we've been doing. And I have been just watching a lot of TV because at nights, that's what I've been doing. I'm too tired to actually go do anything, so instead and I've got so much work to do that I'm doing work and watching TV at the same time. So,
That's no good.
well, not like work, like my day job that I get paid for, but all the work that I do that I don't get paid for. That stuff, which isn't all bad. And I am getting to watch stuff like, season 2 of Iron Fist. Just in time for Daredevil season. What are they on? 3? Season 3, right?
Yeah.
That comes out like I think next week.
The 19th.
The 19th. So 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So yeah, so that's coming. So what have you been up to this week?
Oh man, not a whole heck of a lot. We probably should talk about it sometime, but we watched American Horror: The Coven.
Oh yeah.
That was the season of American Horror that was about the witches.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty decent.
Yeah.
If you saw a show called Scream Queens, you may kind of go, "This is kind of familiar," but yeah, it was pretty good. So we did get that season watched. Then we tried to watch some other seasons, and it was way too horror-ish for the wife to handle. So far, The Coven is the only one that she can watch.
Oh yeah. I can. Yeah, I can understand that. Checking everything to make sure we're all still good because it looks like I just lost part of my internet connection. Oh, looks like we're back. Nothing skipped or anything, so Skype didn't jump out on me, but everything else seemed to. That's weird. I think we're still good, though. Fingers
Hope so.
crossed. Everything's still recording, so unless Skype completely goes out, everything should be okay. I don't know.
Well, according to YouTube on my end, the stream health is green.
Yeah, that's what it says on my end too. So I'll try to keep an eye on
Skype looks
those.
good.
Make sure that none of that goes down. It's just weird. I don't know what's going on. Google, and it's maybe a Google thing because Chrome just said I'm offline, but who knows? Google's sometimes retarded.
Damn it, Google.
Yeah, no. What are we gonna do with them? But anyway, enough about all that technical mumbo jumbo. We're still here and we're still recording, and we're gonna do everything we can to keep this going. So, yeah, we definitely need to talk about. Maybe those are good. That's a good topic for here in a couple weeks when we have a Halloween episode.
Yeah, it is October, so 'tis the season to be scared,
season.
I guess.
That's right. Yeah, let's do that. How's your board game playing going? Are you actually Are you getting any of your plays in that you want, or have you given up on that altogether? Because I know you weren't going to meet your goal, but I didn't know if you're still trying to see how close you could get.
I I try. So out of 50 plays, so I set it up so it's 5 games, 10 plays each, so 50 plays. We're the 10th month in, so that's 5/6 of the way there. So if you do the math, carry the one. I should have I should
Well,
have done something different than that, but
so
so I should have probably
you're roughly 40 weeks into the year, so you should have,
yeah
you
I
know, you
should
should,
get 4 plays a month,
yeah,
so I should be up around 40ish
yep.
plays. I'm at 19.
Oh, yeah. So like halfway there. No problems.
Yeah,
Halfway to where you should be at least.
yeah. So I'm
So
halfway to halfway.
so I guess your goal should be to like get 25 of the 50 plays in. How about that?
Yeah, that even seems impossible, but
I mean, you got like 8 more weeks, so
yeah. But I'm also looking at it going, I'm not in town a lot
oh no.
those 8 weeks. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
becomes a challenge.
so we play on Thursday nights. So I'll be able to play this Thursday. Next Thursday I'm in Omaha.
Oof.
The following Thursday I'm in town. The next Thursday I'm in Lincoln. The following Thursday I'm in town. The following week after that I'm in Vegas. The following week after that I'm in Colorado. And then I should be in town.
Mm. Yeah, you're gonna run into some problems there. I mean,
Yeah.
at least if you go to Omaha, you can hit up Eddie or Billy, some of those guys, meet up with them and play a board game. You could go, but probably not. You're probably not getting them into one of the games on your list.
Probably not, but I am spending almost an entire week in Lincoln. I'm
Well, there
thinking
you go.
about taking Scythe with me and playing it at night because I've got nothing else to do.
Yes, well, especially in Lincoln.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. I don't really know anybody there,
there's don't
and
isn't there somebody who lives in Lincoln?
oh, there's people in Lincoln. I just don't know them.
I
And it's a
think
college town, and I'm not of college age anymore by a small amount, and so not really a lot for me to do. So I thought about taking Scythe, maybe even Spirit Island, and just playing those at night
right.
when I'm not at work.
There you go. There you go. That's not a bad play. I mean, that could be fun
Yeah,
still.
I think it'll work.
Yeah.
Scythe is one of the games on my list, so if I play it, 3, 4 times,
There you go. You're
hey,
right back in it. You might get to
I'm back
25.
in the game
You
because I
might,
think I have 4 out of the 10 plays of Scythe in. So if I get 3 or 4 more,
yeah, it'll at least feel like you made a good chunk out of that one.
yeah, it would feel good if I just closed one of the games out.
Yeah,
That would be like, okay, I did something.
there you go. That's that's at least worth it. That's at least worth it. Go for that. There's your goal. To
There it
get
is.
to
Yep.
get like 6 more plays of Scythe then before the end of the year.
That's right. I guess I'm not limited to just playing one a night. I guess I could play more. So
Yeah.
maybe I could get it done.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So, life goals.
Well, I mean, at least they're goals, right?
Yeah.
They're they're at least good things. Um, so yeah. What? Well, you've got a board game on here that is not on your list, but
Yeah. And that's another reason I can't get the games on my list played is I keep buying more games. So,
so is this a brand new game that you've bought?
it's brand new to me. It came out
Okay.
in 2016, I believe. Um, It's called Spirit Island. There's the cover art for those watching the YouTube channel.
It's really cool.
Woo! So basically, we'll get into the details here. It is a co-op game, 1 to 4 players. Takes 90 to 120 minutes. And basically what you are is as it says, the spirits of the island. You're there to defend the locals, which are called, holy cow, I just looked right at it. Dahan, I can't believe I couldn't remember that.
Yeah, why? I mean, why not?
And the island itself, defending these two things from the evil invaders, which would be basically us, colonizers.
Sure.
So, if you're a tree hugger, this game is probably right up your alley because you're defending the islands from being overpopulated and overdeveloped.
Okay.
So, to play the game, the game comes with like 8 spirits to choose from. And what's funny about this game is if you read Board Game Geek, I think it has a complexity of like 3.92 or something like that.
Yep.
And so it's a pretty complex game. But there's rules in here to make it harder if it gets too easy. So it's like, damn, I don't know about ever getting to those components because it's a pretty tough game to play. So you get these power cards or these spirits to choose from, and the game recommends these certain ones. So on the back of the card, it'll tell you the complexity of playing that character. So 4 of them is low complexity, and that's one of those 4 is it recommends you playing. The other 4 or 5, whatever it is, a couple of them are like high complexity, the rest are like medium complexity. So learning the game, they recommend playing a low complexity spirit, which I get. And they also have a modular board. Like, here's one of the pieces.
Cool.
With different pieces of terrain, like wetlands, mountains. I'm going to just say desert, but it's sand, and then like forest. You could flip it over where apparently it's harder to tell what the hell's going on, and it makes the game harder. So you can play the other side.
Okay.
I don't know why you'd ever want to do that, but hey, I like the cartoonish colors of the easy side, so I'm going to stick with that for now.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
So it's 1 to 4 players, so if there's only 1 player, you only have 1 piece. 2 players, 2 pieces, 3 players, you get the picture. So, what'd I do? So you have these boards. Each one of them has symbols on it that tells you how to populate the board to start it up. How many Dahan, how many invaders have already started. And then the game starts. And how the game is played is, I'm going to have to I didn't want to dig everything out, but I'm just going to do it. There is, buried deep in this damn box, there's a lot that comes in this box for as small as it is. Insert joke wherever you want to on that one. So the AI basically has a board like this.
Okay.
And there's a fear section. There's 3 levels of fear. And you would think the higher level of fear, the worse it is for the people playing the game.
Right.
No. The higher level of fear, the worse it is on the invaders. You're scaring the invaders away from wanting to
Oh, okay.
colonize.
Okay, fair.
So you have a deck of fear cards that you will place on here, and then you'll also have these little terror level cards that you'll put 3 down. You'll put terror level 3 on top of it. You'll put 3 more down. You'll put terror level 2 on top of it. Then you'll put 3 more down, and the game starts at terror level 1. This is important to us because each level changes the victory conditions for the players. Terror level 1, there's 3 types of invaders. Well, 3 sets of minis for the invaders, I guess you could call them. One is the explorers that looks like little skinny
Cool.
dudes.
All right.
There are towns denoted by a little miniature that just has 2 buildings on it. And then there's cities denoted by this big miniature with 3 buildings on it.
Okay.
Terror level 1, if you remove all 3 of those completely from the board, you win. Terror level 2, you only have to remove the town and cities to win. If you can get it to terror level 3, you only have to remove all the cities to win. So it gets a little bit easier as you raise the terror level. If you raise the terror level to level 3 and go through all the terror level 3 fear cards, the players win the game.
Okay. All right.
So your victory conditions are get through all the fear, you automatically win.
Sure.
If you're terror level 1, clear out all the invader stuff. Terror level 2, clear out towns and cities. Terror level 3, just the cities. So it sounds easier as it goes, but it's pretty tough. And there's a fear pool that has these pretty cool looking cardboard pieces that denotes fear. If you can see that in the camera.
Yep. Kind of like
So it looks like a
almost like a skull and crossbones type thing.
yeah, it's almost like a skull and crossbones that's screaming. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
The base game, you have 4 of these per player, and different powers and things that you do will tell you how many fear to use. And what you do is there's a fear pool in the AI board, up here.
Okay.
And as the fear is generated, you move them down into this fear generated area on the IA board. When you've put all of your fear tokens in there, you take a fear card off of the fear deck that you made. Then you put all the fear back into the fear pool, and you keep going. So getting to the fear cards takes a little while.
Sure. Okay.
So if you're listening to this going, well, hell, we'll just do fear. It should go pretty fast. It takes a while. So a 2-player game, you have 8 of those tokens to get through to just play 1 card. So there you have it. Another part of this AI board is there's an area called Blight. And the base game is 5 Blight per player.
Okay.
To make it tougher, there's actually Blight cards you can put on in that space, which are harder than the base game. But trust me, the base game is freaking hard enough as it is. But so you put, for a 1-player game, you'd put 5 these ugly Blight tokens on there. And they just look like little cesspools. Now you can't see it.
Those are really small. Yeah, okay.
They're tiny.
Yeah.
And when the invaders attack the land, which I'm assuming means develop the land, dig it
Sure.
up,
Mm-hmm.
Blight is added to spots on the board. You have to have 2 points of damage to the land to add blight. You take it out of this pool.
Okay.
If this pool ever gets exhausted, players lose the game. You can remove blight from the game and put it back in the blight pool, which you're going to just be doing a lot of. Blight happens pretty freaking fast. So how the game is played on top of all of that is there's this terrain track at the bottom. Terrain, not train. And it's a stack of cards that have terrain that matches what's on the modular board. And you flip one over and it's explore. You put an explorer in every one of those terrains on the board. And then you slide that card over to build. And then the players go. And then when it gets back to the AI, then you go to the build. So where you just explored, now you build. And you put either a town or a city. If there's more towns than cities, then you place a town. If there's not, then if there's more towns than cities, you place a city. Otherwise, you place a town.
Okay.
And then once that's done, then you flip over the next card and you put explorers on whatever terrain that is. And then you slide them over again. Players go. And now this time you go, there's a card in the Ravage spot. And that's when they attack the land and the locals, the Dahan. So a city does 3 damage, a town does 2 damage, and an explorer does 1 damage.
Okay.
So, and it's not split up like, oh, the Dahan take 2 damage, and there was 4 Dahan, so we could split it all up and they don't attack the land. It doesn't work that way. They attack the land first. And if they do more than 2 damage, blight is added to the board. And then they attack whoever is on that land, which is the Dahan, and wipe them out. So it's like if they have 3 points of damage they're really doing 6 points of damage because they do 3 to the land and 3 to the Dahan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's an ass kicker. So and one of the mechanics from Pandemic, if you've ever played Pandemic, is once you get 3 of the viruses in one city, and then that city's card comes back up, it
becomes like an outbreak.
Spreads.
Yeah.
Yeah, an outbreak. This is kind of similar. If a terrain has blight on it already, and they attack that one again to add more blight, you then just pick another adjacent spot to it and put blight on that one. So it's like it can cascade on you. So you can go through blight pretty quick. So you got to be very careful with that.
Oh man.
I'm getting too much in the weeds on this. I apologize, but this is how complex the game is. Every player has all these tokens in their color, and that is presence. And you add those to the board, and you have power cards that are based on where you have presence. So you may have a card that says you can attack for 3 damage, but only on the spot you have presence, or on a spot at most 1 terrain over from where you have presence. And some of them go up to 2.
Okay.
So your presence matters on the board. Plus, it really matters because your character has spots where you put your presence tokens, and as you place them on the board, you get more money and more cards you're allowed to play. Gotcha. So the more presence you have on the board, the less you have here, the more powerful you become.
That's what I was wondering, if that was going to come up there.
Yeah. So that's cool and all, but if you have presence on a spot where blight happens, you lose one of your presence tokens off of that piece of property. So if you have presence and another guy has presence on there and a blight happens, you both lose 1 token.
Oof.
Off of there.
Painful.
Yeah, so it sucks. And those don't go back to your board. They're just out of the game.
Oh, so then you can't even get like, so do you have like a finite number of presents then? And
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. I think you have 14 total.
whew,
Yeah.
which can
So,
just go away at any point, which can slowly be dwindling, and then you could
yeah.
not have enough presents to really
Yeah.
do much. Wow.
So,
Okay.
so on a player's turn to combat all this evilness, you do a couple of things. One is your first thing you do is called growth. And at the top of the board, there's like 3 sections of growth.
Hold the
And you
card
say,
up
okay,
higher.
I'm going to do this one. And this one may be place presence um, one spot from where you already have presence. And this one says you get to do it twice. Another one has you gain a power card. I haven't gone into power cards, but I will. And you get to put presence 2 spots away from where you already have presence. Um, then another one is when you play your power cards, they're discarded.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the growth is you just reclaim your cards. So if you run out of cards, you pick this growth one, you get your cards back.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Plus, you gain another power card, and you gain 1 energy, which is the money.
Okay.
So you do the growth, and then you look at how much presence you have on the board to see what you get. Like, if you haven't placed any presence on the board, you get paid 1 more energy, and you can play only 1 power card. And power cards actually have a price to pay to use it. So if you don't have any money, you don't get to play any power cards.
Mm.
But if you have the money to play a power card, you play the power card, and there's 2 types. There's fast and there's slow. The fast
So
ones,
on the power
uh,
cards, so power cards, that's what you can play also with presents, or is that a different set of cards?
presence is just a token.
Oh, right, but didn't you say there were cards that tell you you can attack if you have presence, like in
Yeah,
a
so
region?
that's what the power cards do.
Those. So in other
Yeah,
words, in order to play a power card, you have to have presence in an area, and you need energy to spend or money to spend to play the card. So
right.
those must be
So
pretty beefy cards then.
some of them are and some of them aren't.
Whew.
Like this one I just picked up. It's a major power card. There's minor and major, and then
Okay.
there's the standard powers that come with your character. I think each character has 4 that are just their own, and the cards actually have that character's picture on it on the back, so you know which cards are yours.
Oh, okay.
You just hand them out. So this one I picked up as a major power card. It costs 3 to use. This one's speed is slow. So what that means is if its speed is fast, you pay for the card and then you use it right then.
Okay.
If it's slow, you pay for the card, you go through all the rest of your steps in your turn, then the AI goes, and then you get to play your slow card.
Ooh.
So this one's a slow card, and it's denoted by a turtle in the area said speed.
Of
And then
course.
there's a range, and this one is 1 spot away from any jungle you have presence on. So it's not only where you have presence, it has to be a jungle spot on the board
Mm.
that you had presence in. And then it also has a target land. This one says any, so any type of terrain it works against. But this one's pretty powerful because you can destroy all the explorers and all the towns on that space.
So on a jungle tile that you have presence in.
A range of 1 from a jungle
Oh,
tile
okay.
that you have
Okay.
presence in. Yeah. It also is so powerful, it's like a nuke. You also destroy all the Dahan on that spot. You're basically
Oh,
clearing off that terrain tile.
gotcha.
Um,
And then,
then
but the
there's
Dahan are the Dahan good guys for you, or are they
the
the
Dahan are the poor little natives that we are trying to protect.
so
And
you're killing your natives to save the land, basically.
yeah.
Okay. All
basically.
right. All right.
And power cards also on the left-hand side have elements. Most of them are grayed out, but some of them will be full color, and those are the elements you have coming to you
Okay.
that turn. And like this one, it says if you have 2 that look like a moon and 3 that look like a leaf, you get to destroy one city and not destroy any of the Dahan.
Mm.
So here's where your level of complexity comes in. You got to make sure all your other power cards played with this one gives you 2 moon and 3 leaves, so you don't destroy your Dahan.
Oh, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm seeing
yeah.
where the complexity keeps going up and up and up.
Well, on top of that, everybody's power character has what's called innate powers. And this particular character's there is slow. It's like playing a slow power card. And
Okay.
if you have certain elements like this one, you can push one um, explorer or one town to another tile.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you have even more of that, you can instead do 2 damage and push up to 3 explorers or towns to another tile. And then the most deadly one or the most powerful one, you do 2 damage to each invader.
Mm.
So you can do a lot of good stuff with the innate. Um, the stone guy, his innate powers are fast, so they happen pretty quick. And your power cards for those particular um, characters have all those elements that are needed, but just playing one power card isn't going to give you enough elements to run the innate. But
Gotcha.
as you get more powerful and can play more cards, then you have a better chance of getting to use your innate powers. So the level of complexity just keeps ramping up on you.
Yeah.
So you play the power cards at the everybody does this at the same time. So everybody playing the game does these things at the same time to keep the game moving. And so you can talk among yourselves like, well, I can push these people anywhere you want me to. If you've got a card that does a lot of damage to a
Right.
certain spot, let me know and I'll push them there, and then you can play your card and we can wipe them out. There's another level of complexity.
Okay. Okay. Like maybe you can
Having to
push,
work together.
yeah, push bad guys to maybe an area where there's no Dahan and then wiping
Yeah,
them
then
out.
drop
And
that big power card on them and yeah,
yeah.
wipe them all out. Um, there's 2 mechanics in these power cards: push and pull.
Okay.
Push, you just push them to another adjacent terrain. Pull, you pull them into your terrain where you have presence.
Okay.
So maybe you have a card that says, I do a lot of shit right here in a place where I have presence, pull them in and whip ass. That's
Yeah.
the idea behind that.
All right.
So that's the gameplay is fairly easy. I mean, um,
It's just master. It sounds like it's really easy to learn and a lot harder to master because
yeah,
of all the different things and the synergy and the way the different cards work together. It sounds like it could be a little. Um, it, it sounds the complexity of it sounds very similar to something like Legendary, where the game can be is really easy. All you have to do is draft more cards to your deck and play the cards, but it's getting the cards to work together in order to do the maximum amount of influence that you need, whether it's damage upon the opponents or damage on the invaders or just shifting and moving them around. So sounds really
exactly.
cool.
It's pretty cool. It's also one of those games you read all the reviews and they talk about how complex it is, and you're thinking, I've read these rules. I pretty much know what's going on. I think I could beat this game. No, you can't. Uh, not your first time around, unless you played some of the rules wrong, which you of course know I'm famous for.
Yeah.
But the first time I played, we got the rules exactly right,
And got
and
smoked.
it was pretty tough.
Yeah. Huh.
We
All
did
right.
not win or lose. We just ran out of time because we just did a rules play over lunch.
Okay.
But we were getting to the point where we could tell some really bad things were going to happen to us.
Huh.
So, Spirit Island, I recommend it if you like a little bit of a brain burn and you like co-ops. It's like a co-op area control game with variable powers.
Okay.
And you can play alone, which is kind of cool. Which is one of the reasons I got this game is I can play solo and really learn the game
Yeah.
and actually play by the rules and not, have to keep track of more than one player and all this other stuff like I have to do sometimes when I play alone to get the game down. So that's a really cool aspect of it. Another cool aspect I like about the game is the components are pretty awesome. The artwork's cool. The cards are nice, heavy stock. There's wooden pieces, plastic pieces, and cardboard pieces that are all well done and, quality stock. So I haven't seen anything that's just disappointed me as far as that goes. The first time we played, you get out this rule book and it's like, holy crap, this is like a 20-page rule book and it's pretty big and you're thinking this is going to be difficult. It's really not. The rule book is a little weird. It doesn't go completely in the order like you think it would go, but it's all there. So you're like, oh yeah, what do I do in this situation? And you go to the part where you think it would be, and it just mentions it. You're like, well, what good does that do? Oh yeah, way at the beginning it explained that where you didn't need it. So the rule book is a little funky. Just be warned. Watch a lot of videos on how to play. I recommend Rado, however you say his name.
Yeah.
Runs through. He does a very good job explaining how the game plays. His copy was an early Kickstarter copy, so if you buy this game off the shelf, your components aren't going to look exactly like his. It's going to be pretty close, but I did notice it going, hey, where did he get that play mat? And what the hell? I don't have that, but, I got over it pretty quick. Or did
Sure.
I? I don't know. But, yeah, so I recommend it if you like tough puzzles, brain burns, and you like co-ops. If you don't like either one of those, stay far, far away from this game. If you do like those things and you're one of those people that finally gets to the point where you're like, yeah, we're beating it on a regular basis, there's 3 or 4 more things in this box that makes it harder.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, you can actually add, I can't remember what they call it. Damn it, I just put the box away. Here we go. They are called, excuse me, adversaries. You
Oh,
can add adversaries to the game, like the
all right.
Kingdom of Prussia, the Kingdom of England, or the Kingdom of Sweden, and they have like scenarios that go with them, and you have to follow along with that. Um,
Okay.
there's 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 actually lore to how these adversaries are played in the rule book. Um, you can also, like I said, mess with the cards that deal with blight. Those make
Sure.
it a little bit tougher. You can flip the game boards over and use that terrain, which apparently makes the game tougher. I don't know, I haven't tried that yet. So there's many ways to ramp this up on you. And then if you're one of those people who gets to play 1,000,000 games a year and you get to the point where you're like, well, we're beating even the adversaries, there's a expansion called, oh man, See, this is what happens. You get old and you can't remember anything. Uh, Branch and Claw.
Okay.
So adds another level of complexity to the game. I think it changes a little bit of the gameplay, but not a ton. But it adds to it. I've heard it's very good. I haven't played it, but I've heard it's very good. So again, if you're getting to the point where the game's getting stale, very good expansion for it.
Cool. Very
So
cool.
that's my review of Spirit
I
Island. As
I
long-winded as that
I kind
was,
of want
there
to
it
get this
is.
game. I kind of want to try it out. Like
Yeah,
it's
you'll
it.
have to.
Yeah.
We'll have to get together and play it sometime.
Yeah. I like that idea. I like that idea.
Yeah, because I won a gift card at work, and it covered
Ah,
the price of that game. That's why I have
there you go.
it.
There you go. Yeah, cause yeah, Board Game Geek's got you know, it's got some good reviews. I think it's like 4 out of 5 stars. You know, it's or not or 8 out of 10. What I can't remember what Board Game Geek's
Yeah, it's
rankings
got an
system is, but
8.4 out of 10.
there you go.
Its overall rank is 32, so
That's really
think of all
high.
the games that are on Board Game Geek, it's ranked number 32
Yeah, that's
out
kind
of
of a
like
big deal.
15,000 games.
Yeah,
So it's a pretty big deal.
yeah,
Yeah, especially for a game that's 2 years old. So you know it's not just Cult of the New. It's got some
right.
staying power.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's kind of cool. Like it sounds really neat, and I like the complexity of it. I think it's I think that just adds to more stuff for it, and it just takes. You know, I like the games where you can have where every time you play through it, it's just a little bit different, and the way you can handle things, and you learn in advance, and you know, um, can kind of grow with the game. So I like it.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. Very, very
I
cool.
I think it's a good one.
Well, while you've been playing board games, I've been watching TV. And I finally got through all of Netflix. I got through all of Netflix. That sounds really like I did a lot.
You
No.
reached the end of the internet.
I got to the end of season 2 of Iron Fist. This is just going to be a quick review for it, but there will probably be some spoilers in here. So if you haven't finished it yet, maybe you should finish it first before you come listen to here. Um, or you can just listen to me and then go back and watch it anyway, because really the spoiler stuff that happens is really in like the last episode. Um, Everything else is pretty straightforward. So one of the big complaints with the first season that I had is one, I didn't feel like the martial arts was up to the quality that it should be. The martial arts in this one is a lot better. It's not quite as high as I want it to be, being that he is supposed to be the master of kung fu, um, or whatever. I think it's kung fu is actually but there's still some stuff that I wish it was a little bit smoother, a little bit better flow. The camera angle, the camera gets choppy. They do a much better job of hiding the fact that what's his name? I forgot. Danny Rand's actor is not. I don't think he's doing all the stunts. I don't think he's doing all the fighting. Um, Even without, at no point does he put on the mask like he does in the comic books, which is just this yellow bandana over, with eyes cut
That's too
out for his
bad. I
holes.
think he needs that.
Well, he doesn't put it on, but it does show up in the second season. It shows up in while Danny Rand is fighting Davos in like a flashback of when they were deciding who was going to go after the who was going to get to fight the dragon and get the Iron Fist. You get to see them fighting with the white I don't know, like karate uniform and the yellow mask. So looked really cool. It was a very good way of doing the throwback to his original, costume without making it cheesy and corny. Because it's a little weird of him like walking around the town with this mask on. Like, it doesn't fit in the modern
Yeah.
idea the same way Daredevil's costume works. So, but it was kind of the same way. Like, I think it was the first season of Luke Cage where they, you see him with the tiara type. Um, it was like a
Yeah.
medical thing, but it looked like his, tiara that he wore in the early comics, and the big, shirt with it way open. Um,
Yeah, and the
so
bracers.
yeah, and the bracers. They did a good job of doing that in Luke Cage. They did a good job in this one with showing the old costume without having it be his costume. So I I actually thought that this season of Iron Fist, you could feel that it was done by a different showrunner with a different idea and a different mindset. It felt a little bit more like the other Marvel movies. So I thought that was really good. Or I call them Marvel movies, Marvel Netflix shows. Let's
I'm
call
glad to
them
hear that.
Netflix movies. Because, again, I don't feel it. You can tell that these were written together and not, you know, episodes. This is a 10-hour movie. Um, the episodes are pretty straightforward at the 48 to 55 minutes. They don't have any hour and a half long episodes like they did in the first season, which is good. There are some slow spots in this. Uh, there, there's a lot of different storylines that are going on through here, but you kind of feel like as they're going through, most of them have a point, and some of them are just more character development. So you can kind of see where they're going. You get to deal with Meacham, the Meacham brother and sister Joy and Ward. They are in this quite a bit. Ward is a little less impactful, but he makes an appearance here and there, and you can tell there's some character development in it just for his character that really has nothing to do with Danny Rand. Um, Misty Knight makes an appearance in the season, which I thought was really cool. I thought they did a really good way of having her come in, and she allowed her appearance actually set the timeline on when this season happens. This season actually happens post season 2 of Luke Cage because
Does
Misty,
she come in with the arm or not?
yes, she comes in with the arm, and she comes in with the fact that she has been asked to be the new captain of the police force in Harlem, which is what she gets at the end of season 2 of Luke Cage. So she sets this season's timeline for Iron Fist season 2 where that fits with the others, helps tie everything together. I thought it was really well done. Um, the Now I know that you have not liked season 2 of Jessica Jones or season 2 of Luke Cage. Um,
Well, not like is fairly strong, but not liked enough to finish. How's that?
well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much not liked. If you liked it a little bit, you'd probably finish it. Um,
Okay, fair enough.
you're gonna have a hard time watching this one too because it's a lot of the same stuff. Danny Rand loses. Okay, spoilers, everybody. Danny Rand loses the Iron Fist. Davos steals it from him. Davos was actually in the first season as one of the. He's his brother from Kung Lung that he didn't get to. That basically Danny beat the crap out of to go get the Iron Fist. So Davos takes it back from Danny, steals it from him through a ritual, and they're trying to basically get it back from him. It's so you get to see Danny beaten up, uh, recover, all that kind of, the only thing it was missing was like while I was watching one of the episodes, you can tell as it gets farther in, they're jumping time. They don't tell you that they are, but you can tell with the progression of characters' health. All of a sudden, miraculously, from the end of one episode, Danny Rand is in a hospital bed, like barely, like unable to move because his knee has just been like shattered. To the next beginning of the next episode, he is like walking on a cane in the door of his apartment with Colleen. So you can tell there's big gaps in there, even though they don't say anything about it. I felt like there should be a music montage training situation in there.
With some 80s music.
Right? Yeah. There's so you do have to deal with a lot of heroes being the heroes beaten up and losing everything and how he regains it. The big thing that happened in this for me was in the last episode when spoilers again if you haven't seen it, but I kind of want to, this leads into season 3 and it's something that I want to get off my chest because I don't know how I feel about it. Danny Rand does not want the Iron Fist back. So
Really?
he says that it has, him having it made him lose focus for what he was fighting for, and he basically said it's corrupting him. He was going out at night just to use the Iron Fist and beat the crap out of people instead of doing what was right. And when he couldn't beat up people with it, then he was going down into the sewer or in the subway like room and just using the Iron Fist to beat the crap out of like steel doors. So he'd set up like just a spot where he could just beat stuff up. So he didn't want it back, and but you can't just like let the Iron Fist go. So if they're gonna take it from Davos, it's got to go to somebody. Well, the person Danny wants to give it to is Colleen, and at first she doesn't want it, and then realizes that her sense of morality is the only thing that could stop her from becoming like Danny. And so she ends up taking it.
Okay. Interesting.
One of the
I
last,
I was actually just happy to hear that he was out doing something with his Iron Fist instead of being the wuss and
yeah,
the naive person he was in season one.
he's very less naive in this one. He's very much like, no, I've been screwed. I've screwed this up too many times. Yes, I need to do something about it. So he's he's much more aggressive, um, almost to a detriment though. It's almost like he goes from far left to far right on the pendulum. So it's not all bad. It kind of makes sense with what he's doing and how he's trying to do it, and it requires Colleen's intelligence and her training ability to teach Danny, um, to separate his emotions from fighting. Kind of the especially with him going up against Davos, who is somebody who spent a lot of years training in Kunlun. So um, so there is that. There's a very cool scene at the very end. Well, in that same spot, Danny decides to leave New York, takes Ward with him to go find something. It's almost like they're going on a walkabout or something. I don't know, but they left New York,
Okay.
fly off to some Indian city to go find something, or ancient city somewhere. So they go off at the end, and then you see Colleen come in, and she goes to fight or she goes to stop a crime. You know, some people trying to jack a car, or rob a bank, or I think they were robbing a bank, and she kind of walks up in front of the car, and she's got her sword, you know, her katana in her hand, and they start to make some, you know, comment like, oh, there's three of them and one of her, like, what is she gonna do? And she pulls the sword out, and all of a sudden her hand, instead of being yellow like the Iron Fist, it's white, and she has transferred that power into the sword, so the katana lights up in this white light, which to me I thought was really cool. um,
Does that follow any comic book storyline?
Not that I know of. I have to do a lot more research. I don't know the history of Danny Rand and the Iron Fist as much as I do some of the others, but it makes me want to know more about it, and I want to do some more research on it. So I'm going to end up going back and reading a lot more Iron Fist comic books, uh, just to try to get a better understanding for it. I don't know that that's ever happened, but then on the same side, the next scene after that is Danny Rand with Ward trying to. They're sitting in a bar talking to somebody, trying to get information out of them, and the guy tries to pick a fight with Ward, and Ward just is like, "Oh no, no, no! I'm not the guy who fights. You have to deal with that guy." And he walks away and kind of turns a corner, and there's Danny sitting at a table. And this is the part that really confuses me. Danny stands up. He's wearing like a trench coat type thing, pulls out two guns, and then all of a sudden both of his hands light up yellow. The guns light up yellow. He fires two bullets, and the screen goes black, and that's the end of the season.
Holy cow.
So
So what does that mean?
I don't know, but it's
I
just,
count on you for all comic book knowledge.
I know, but that's the thing. Like, I watch this and I go, huh? I mean, I know, and I just said that I don't know Iron Fist mythology, but I'm pretty sure there's only been one. Like, I don't know that there was ever two people with the Iron Fist ability. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this has happened before, or maybe this guy, maybe these writers are finally taking this thing and going and saying, you know what? Let's write our own stories about the Iron Fist, and we are going to make it to where there's two of them. And all of a sudden, Danny's got powers, Colleen's got powers, and they can team up. I really don't know, because I really thought this season of Iron Fist was going to lead into like a Heroes for Hire thing with like for the next Defenders type um, crossover, or even just a crossover between Luke Cage um, and Iron Fist, to where they can kind of be that Heroes for Hire and working with Jessica Jones or something like that. Like, I expected that to come. I don't believe that if it's coming, it's a ways down the road, because where they're going right now, I don't think that's the case. So I don't know. They kind of threw me for a loop there, and I don't know what to think of it. So
Sounds very interesting. It's interesting enough now that I think I want to watch it.
yeah,
And I didn't think that was going to be possible.
it's actually really pretty good. There are, now you're gonna go into it, and there are some slow moments. There are some times where they spend too much time talking and less time fighting, but
I'm okay with that.
yeah, it's not all bad, and it kind of fits with the situation, because you have a lot of triad gang war type situations where they're trying to talk their way out of, you know, Danny and Colleen are really trying not to start a gang war, and they're trying to make everybody at peace. Everyone else is not so happy with that.
Okay.
So it kind of makes sense for them to be trying to talk people down. But
So now the question is, will I actually watch it?
I I'm gonna go with no.
Oh, ye of little faith. But you're
Um,
probably right.
I mean, it's worth giving
I
it a
want
shot.
to at least see the finale, but I feel like if I'm going to watch the finale, I should at least watch the season so it has meaning.
Well, I mean, you could watch, like, if you watched the last episode and actually went and like fast forwarded through all of it except for like the last like 5 minutes and just watched that, you would get the shock part of it because the rest of it is very, it's very by the book. Like there was no twists or turns in it that I looked at and went, wow, I didn't expect that to happen. No, it was very, very by the book, very standard storytelling. Not
Okay.
bad storytelling, just very methodical. Much better than the first season that I felt like there were so many storylines going in every different direction that it was impossible to keep track of what was actually going on. The story is very straightforward, to the point. This is what's going on. So the big twist really only happens in almost like a. It really felt like a post-credit scene, is what it really felt like.
Holy cow, that's interesting that you said that.
Yeah. So I think it's really, I think they're trying to set up stuff for the next season. Um, so I feel like there's going to be another season. I'm curious to see if there's going to be another Defenders before there's another season of Iron Fist. I don't know.
I
I
hope
haven't.
so.
I mean, I haven't seen how that's all going to play out. I think, honestly, I think the big question is what comes out of season 3 of Daredevil, because I haven't heard anything about it on what could be happening with it. But that's going to be kind of a big focal point because everybody from Jessica Jones season 2 through Iron Fist season 2 have all made the comment that Daredevil's dead. Matt Murdock is dead. They all believe he's dead. So
Hmm.
so there is that. Does Matt Murdock make an appearance back? Does he come back from wherever he ended up? Which I'm not exactly sure. I think if I remember Defenders right, it was like he ended up in Kung Lung,
I
or
think that's right.
so does he make it back to New York? I don't know. But I'm really excited to see Daredevil season 3. That was kind of, I wanted to finish Iron Fist season 2 before Daredevil 3 started because I feel like these shows are building on each other even if they're not
Well,
actually
it brings
building on
up a
each other.
good question. If you just watched the first episode of everything and then just watched the finales of the season 2 of everything, I wonder if you would be caught up without watching anything else in season 2 but the finale.
Hmm, possibly.
Yeah. Well, since I haven't watched any season 2 stuff, maybe I should try that.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, the only thing that you would be missing is, you know, yeah, actually, I think you could, because I think even with Iron Fist season 2, I mean, the beginning, you're introduced to Davos. Davos is going after Danny. I think in the first episode, maybe the first two, and then the last episode is when they defeat Davos. So the only time I think that doesn't work is like some of the Luke Cage stuff, because there's so much other stuff. Like there's multiple bad guys within those. You've got you had the Jamaican guy, but then you also had um I forgot her name, the 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 chick mob boss.
Yeah, I,
You know
I
that
know who you're talking about.
you have those two bad guys in Iron Fist season 2. We'll just call it Iron Fist 2. In that you really have one bad guy. That's Davos. It's Iron Fist season 2 is so much more straightforward than any of the other seasons or the other shows, and I think that's because they needed to get back to being straightforward storytelling that they didn't have in season 1. This is much more straightforward, to the point, and it worked a lot better. So give it a shot. I recommend it. I thought it was good.
All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. Because, it's not always just up to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is true. I mean, you have to have Holly listen to this. Tell her I recommended it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you think that would hold sway. That was cute. But
Yeah, no, I know that. I know her way too well. Way too well.
yeah, if she could hear me now, she'd be mad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
not mad, but you know.
Yeah, you'd be sleeping on the couch. It's all right. I get it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's where the PlayStation is.
Right? All right, guys. We gone long enough. A little overboard on this one, but I wanted to talk about Iron Fist season 2 because it just threw me for such a loop at the end that I needed to talk to somebody about it. I needed to tell people about it. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it because it's worth it. It's good storytelling. They went back to good storytelling. Ignore what happened in season 1. If you didn't even watch season 1, who cares? You don't need it. So, all right. What else we got here? Oh yeah, go check out our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. Follow us on facebook.com/geekvice. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can do that on Facebook too. Just click YouTube on the left-hand side. You can also follow us on Twitter. You can follow that man at Kip Killigan. You can follow me at Geekvice. And of course, as always, you can reach us by email at geekvice@gmail.com. Any last words, Kip?
No.
Thanks everyone for listening to our ramblings, and we will see you next time.
Later.
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.